So, I mean, I've worked with Jyotirmay before, with some projects for the live sessions at Compass Box Studio. Vivek and Jyotirmay called me up asking if I would be interested to produce a slightly heavy, metally prog sounding track. And while I love listening to prog music, I don't really have too much experience in producing that kind of music. So this was an interesting opportunity for me to work with these guys who I really love and respect. I mean, I love their music, so for me it was a obvious yes. So I decided that the way we would go about doing this was going to be compositional first, and then we'll flare it up with all the additional metal sort of riffs and grooves and stuff. So fortunately for me, both Jyotirmay and Vivek already had a strong skeletal structure of what the song should sound like, and since they are instrumentalists themselves, they also had good references in terms of what should the overall soundscape look like and the treatment of the drums and the guitars. And when I sat down to work with them for the very first time, the first thing we did was just break up the song into the multiple structures, add a couple of elements as transitions between the A section to the B section. And as a producer, I took up that role, the slightly more larger perspective role. And since I also engineered all the sessions, trying to get the right sound for the snare and for the kick was something I spent a little time on, because again, this is my first time producing a heavy metal track. I usually play bass for jazz and pop projects, but this was my first opportunity to play bass as a metal bassist. And using the pick for a couple of parts was a new experience for me. I have a short little bass melodic solo in the end as well. So it has a lot of elements, in it. It's got some good influences from some greats in the prog metal scene. So I hope you guys, like it and enjoy all the references that are in this particular track. So one of the immediate challenges I faced was, as an engineer and as a producer, to try to figure out what I wanted from the tones of the guitars and drums. But fortunately, since Jyotirmay and Vivek are such solid instrumentalists, Jyotirmay for drums knew exactly what parts to do, how to tune the kit was so important. And the moment I asked him to do a certain fill, this should be like a Portnoy type fill, for example, and he would get it instantly and translate that into the recording. Vivek also, it was great working with him because, we got to try out a couple of different amps before finally, working on the right tones. I think we figured out those obstacles pretty quickly and solved them to the next step. So one of the first things I wanted to make sure was that the composition had enough variety for the length of a song it was. So we've got these really genty, hard, heavy metal sort of opening sequences. The riff was also complemented by this string section that we added because I thought it would sound cool. So there's a lot of polytonality stuff happening throughout the song, which is something that I really wanted to add because that dissonance worked really well for the kind of song it is. Using all of that and tying it all cohesively was sort of my responsibility as a producer. I hope I did a good job, and I hope you guys like it. Some of the new things we tried, I think, was in the later half of the song. There's this Hakeny type moment that we added for one of the movements over there, and it was fun for me to play both the guitar and the bass for a track like this. So I think I brought some of those influences of neo soul or R&B or even pop elements into this song to make it sound a little more different and a little more unique, and I hope you guys also think the same. As my very first metal production, I think I'm pretty happy with this. Not many people can ask for great people to work with when it comes to metal music, and having both Jyotirmay and Vivek work on this track with me was super fun. Of course, Pratyay mixed the track, our in-house Compass Box engineer. I'm really happy with the way it's turned out. I think we've achieved something that is familiar sounding to the existing metal fans, but also throws in a couple of curveballs that most of them may not expect. And I'm hoping that to be a unique listening experience for the the regular metalhead.